Hello, beautiful. If you don't know me, I'm Justy. I am your Heroine's Journey mentor. Where are you at on your Heroine's Journey? Today, I want to talk about the Awakening Goddess. This is actually the second stage of the Heroine's Journey, when something is breaking through, and at this point, we are waking up to something. And more specifically, the power of your anger, even your rage. This is part of the dark goddess, isn't it? So part of the awakening goddess is part of awakening the dark goddess. Dark doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean evil. It doesn't mean sinful. It means hidden, obscured, and sometimes a shadow cast on by society, stigmatized. You've been taught not to have rage. Am I right? Who wants to hear or see a woman's rage? It feels out of control. It feels unsafe. It's ugly, right? I mean, as a girl, I was sent to my room. I was actually spanked if I showed enough anger or rage. If I had temper tantrums, which I had when I was 2, apparently, that's what they called it, a temper tantrum, I was angry. And even when I was 14, if I cried out of anger at the dinner table, I was sent to my room. When I was married, which was at a young age 20, I was married, and my ex-husband, who was older than me and a very controlled, not particularly available emotionally person, if I was, quote, upset, he couldn't talk to me. I have some notes here, so if you see me looking to the side, I just want to remind myself of the things that I want to talk to you about. And that went on for years. I can't talk to you when you're upset. Either he would leave the room or I would be expected to leave the room. So I have very good training in not showing rage, not even allowing myself to feel it, because what was I going to do with that, you know? And because I was taught that it was unworthy. That was a lack of self-control of my emotions, and that was unwell. So, and then of course in the workplace, you show your rage, your anger, and you can either be fired or, lesser degree, not promoted or pushed out so that you eventually quit. All of that can happen. It's totally unacceptable, certainly unacceptable in meetings and Zoom calls, right? So, what's wrong with that? In recovery circles, I've heard we're supposed to have restraint of pen and tongue. Okay, that works. I have learned so much self-restraint. I became very good at it. I understand it can keep you out of jail, etc. However, why express rage? Why swim against the tide? Why do something different than what is normally recommended and accepted? For one thing, there is power hidden underneath that rage, and there's freedom when that rage is expressed. And for another thing, there is illness, chronic illness, stress-related illness when rage is not expressed, and we know that. Ulcers and a lot more, right? I'm sure that all of it is not even spoken about, because we don't want women to express their rage. I said to my friend, you know, when she was talking about how she has often felt that she was a horrible person if she expressed her rage. And I said, what about the lion or the lioness when she roars? Do we think that's ugly or horrible? And she said, yeah, you're right. We don't. We don't. It's fine for lions, but not for human women. And the lioness, when she roars, she's usually protecting her cubs. That's another aspect. Expressing rage and anger, it can actually be coming up because of injustice or a fight that needs to be had. And if you're a mother, which I am, I experienced rage on behalf of protecting my kids and on behalf of them being treated unjustly. Not to say that I never treated them unjustly, which I know I did, and for that I'm sure I was angry with myself. However, you could find me a bit more feisty and speaking up a bit more when it had to do with my kids than on behalf of myself. All that to say that anger can come up for injustice. to fight against injustice. That is a useful, positive effect of expressing anger and acknowledging it, allowing it to come up, noticing it, thinking about it. What is that? Why am I angry? So some reasons of why express the rage. The question is where and how to express. Of course, there are a lot of situations where we will get ourselves into trouble if we, quote, lose our temper. So we want to consciously express our rage and anger. Maybe we want to cultivate a pause button. A pause button doesn't mean you do nothing or say nothing. It means you pause before you say something, before you write an email, or before you send an email, or before you make a lot of noise or shout or scream. Where am I? Is this a safe place to shout or scream? I used to shout and scream in my car. I don't have a car now. I'm a public transportation person, but I used to have a car, and it really came in handy when I was going through a divorce and separating from the abusive religion that I was born into. I drove around Westchester County screaming and swearing at the top of my lungs. And that was directed at my ex-husband. It was directed at the guy in charge of the cult, mostly those two people. And, calling them names, etc. That was cathartic for me, actually. But it's not the only thing I did. But it was a safe place, okay? I wasn't screaming directly at these men. Who could hurt me? Certainly hurt my divorce settlement, if nothing else. So what do we do? How do we safely express this anger and actually unpack it and realize what could come out of it on the good side? I am a student of the School of Womanly Arts, which is taught by Regina Thomasauer. Many of you heard of that. And Regina taught a tool called the swamp dance. I'm not going to claim it as my own because she created it and we did it. And we wore a black trash bag, and we played angry music. And first I did it in a group in the school, and then I did it in my home with friends and another woman's home. I got to pick my own anger playlist. And it could be anger coupled with grief, frustration, Alanis Morissette, rock bands, Alice in Chains, you name it, punk, music, Nirvana. Music that I might not listen to in my normal daily life, but it really expressed that anger. So we would dance to that. We could scream. We could yell. And in the end, we would do a strip tease out of that black trash bag into our whatever kind of lingerie we had on. Maybe it was black. So in other words, we discovered not only our rage, but the beauty and eroticism in our rage. Because actually, an angry, rageful woman is a powerful, gorgeous creature when she's really expressing herself freely. Just like an angry animal, we can see the beauty in animals, but we may not see it in ourselves. We can, when we are in a group, we can see the beauty in the other women. And this is something that I experienced not only in the swamp dance with Regina Thomasauer, but also in S-Factor dance, which is unpacks the various emotional icons of a woman, and one of them is called the Dangerous Challenger. And so there again, we would dance through this icon and dance through a song that we chose, depending on our mood that day. It wasn't assigned to us necessarily. So this jacket that I'm wearing, this is a jacket that I have worn to dance out my Dangerous Challenger. And I'm going to tell you, it is so refreshing. This is also how I knew it was healthy for me. I would come into the class with underlying suppressed anger, probably to do with my job, I'll be honest, or society as a whole, generalized, but a lot of times to do with my job and the masculine power that was exerted over me, patriarchal, hierarchical, unfair things that made me angry. So I'd come in with that. I would realize in the beginning, the sharing portion, oh yes, I have anger, don't I? So then I would pick a song for when it was my turn to dance. We all took turns. And after I danced through that angry song and stomped around in my black stripper heels, kicked them, not just stomped them, but also kicked them, and, stomped the foot on the floor, and, maybe hang from the pole, etc. Make eye contact, make dangerous eye contact. Nothing is said. It's all a meme. After that, I could tell you I had bubbles of joy running through my body. I had a feeling of refreshment and wanting to just laugh out loud. Sometimes I did laugh out loud. It felt so good. That is cathartic. That is freeing. That is honoring the dark goddess inside myself. And I could feel the erotic power of my dance. It wasn't just being pissed off. I could feel the erotic power, the magnetism of my dangerous challenger. And I understood that because I also got to witness other women's dangerous challenger dancing, and the magic of that. Like, chills will go up my spine sometimes watching that. And there are other icons like that too, which I can tell you about another time. So that's a little bit about how it could be expressed. Now, what if you're not a dancer? Of course, a safe place to share. A swamp share is great, where everybody has anger to share and take turns pulling it from each other. And then, of course, there are other physical, somatic ways to express it, such as kickboxing, boxing. I used to take those classes. Kick that dummy man, kick that red heavy bag. That felt so good. Punching and kicking, very good. Running, I did that before I ever discovered kickboxing or boxing. Cycling, I did that when I was 12 years old and I was angry with my family. I would just go outside, hop on my bike, and cycle for a half an hour fast. It definitely cleaned me out. And, you could shout into the wind when you're cycling, just like driving. Writing angry poetry, giving it at a poetry slam, sharing it, right? Poetry jam, poetry slam, theater, acting out some parts where there's anger, participating in that, expressing a group anger against, whatever bullshit is out there. I've been part of a rebellious theater group. Singing. We can sing angry songs, or we can just sing our heart out and release that anger. Safe protest march. I've done that, and I have friends who've done that. Don't get shot with tear gas, but you can express your anger in a march or in a band. I have a friend who used to do a rebel marching band. There's so many ways, and we alchemize that rage into power. Some of these are forward-moving power. When I dance for other women and they see my erotic power and my rage, that inspires them to free themselves. And what happened? Eventually, I got free of that whole system that I was living in San Francisco. I missed my classes, but I got free of that whole system that was really making me angry every single day. And now I live actually as a free spirit. I'm in a village in Guatemala on the lake now, but I'll soon be moving from there, and I'm not totally angry every day. And I think that I inspire some other women to look at their lives and see how they can get free of some of the parts that are angry in their life. This is a longer video, but I actually have a lot to say about this, so I'm going to go a little bit longer. This part of this is accepting all the parts of ourselves. We have all these parts to ourselves that are not encouraged from girlhood, right? And some of this is actually stigmatized. An angry man is one thing, an angry woman is another thing. Oh, an angry black woman, they have so much to say about that. Or what about, a hot Latina woman? There's like stereotypes about this. And then the white girls who just have to be good girls and never say anything. That's actually looked down on, the sweet good girl. So you can't win, but you can, because we have our ways, right? So, getting in touch with our dark self is part of the awakening goddess. The asleep goddess is not in touch with her dark self. She is suppressing it, and she is suffering behind that. So that's really what I want to say is, What is hiding under there? You can even start with just some simple journaling. A lot of us have heard of the morning pages from the Artist's Way. That freestyle journaling, we can simply write down, I am angry about, and just free write until we can't think of anything else to say. And then, do you have a safe person that you can read this to? Do you have a safe person who wants to do the same practice with you? Get it off your chest. Some of the things seem funny once I say I'm angry about it, but some of them are really not funny at all. They're actually quite serious. So, owning all of that, part of my wisdom is the things that make me angry, the things that make me rageful, the things that make me frustrated, the things that where I've been hurt. Anger is often mixed with hurt. Sometimes anger is on top of hurt, and once we break through the anger, we feel the hurt underneath. Some of my favorite songs that I've danced to have a combination of those threads. It's called The Deep Soulful Siren is another icon. And we can mix her with the Dangerous Challenger. She's been deeply hurt. She's going through grief, and she's also angry. Watch out. Anyway, that's what I have today about anger and rage and the power of the dark goddess. I would love to hear your comments. What do you want me to go in further? Do you want to hear about more of those other darker icons? What has been your experience with expressing rage and anger? How has that actually moved you forward in your life? How have you learned from that and benefited from that? How have you become more of your authentic self behind that? Right? Not the shell, the mask, your authentic self. Please do click on the link below if you would like a 1-hour Heroine's Journey mentoring session with me to unpack where in the Heroine's Journey, what stage you're at, and how you can catapult yourself forward. Not just drag yourself forward. Let's catapult you forward. What are we going to do together? Put our heads and hearts together. It's not just talking. We have meditation and practice too. So besides that, I would love it if you would comment, like, subscribe, even share with a friend who you feel would benefit from this. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Ciao, Bella.